Every time a new month rolls around, we not only get treated to a smattering of new games, we also get reminded of the stack of games that we have waiting for us at home. And this doesn't even include my digital titles. How does this happen? I'm Zion from Nintendo Life, and whether you like it or not, today we're going to be adding a few more games onto your backlog by sharing with you our most anticipated games coming to the Switch in the month of November. Conker, roll the clip.
I don't feel so good now.
Most people wouldn't like to be eaten by a dinosaur, but most people still love them. Coming to the Switch on the 3rd of November, which by the time you see this video is probably already happened, is the spiritual successor to the classic dinosaur park builder Jurassic World Evolution Complete Edition. Imagine if Zoo Tycoon and Jurassic Park had a baby. That's exactly what you get. Pick an island, rework the terrain, upgrade your amenities, and best of all, develop your own dinosaurs. Just remember not to mix the herbivores with the carnivores, because that's just a sad mess, and nobody wants that. If you've played the game before on other consoles and skipped out on some of the DLC, fans will be happy to hear that this version actually includes all of the previously released DLC, too. Then on the 5th comes a new game called YesterMorrow, an adventure platformer that follows the story of a young girl who has to travel back in time to try and save her village from these evil shadows. The platforming elements remind me a lot of a game like Celeste or Ori with its intense action, but its timeline hopping is reminiscent of a game like Sonic CD with the way that it handles the past and future level mechanics. The game also boasts a really colorful and detailed art style, and just look at some of these bosses. This game looks like it could have a lot of potential, but obviously we won't know until we play it. But one thing we can guarantee you 100% is that you can pet the dog. What more can you ask for? I personally love a good point-and-click adventure game, and fans of the genre will be happy to hear that another new contender is making its way onto Switch on the 6th with Memoranda. The game follows the story of a young woman who, for the life of her, can't seem to remember her name, but everyone else living in the mysterious town that she resides in also seems to be missing something too. Now, of course, without looking into the story too much, I can't tell if the main character's stuck in a dream world or what, but some of the other villagers in the town aren't entirely human, or at least Memoranda, or the main character, doesn't seem to always see them as humans. It's very interesting. But that's the thing about Memoranda. It seems like a really strange game, but Memoranda definitely looks like it's going to be a strange tale, but sometimes that's exactly what you need. Following that up on the day after is a side-scrolling horror adventure, Return One-Way Trip. As is the story for many spooky tales, 5 college students head off into the woods for a little camping adventure, where nothing bad could ever befall them, right? Of course, I'm absolutely wrong. As per tradition, one of the characters wakes up to find the rest of their friends missing, and the only clue to finding them lies within an eerie train that suddenly appears in the middle of the woods. We honestly don't get a lot of horror titles like this, at least in this style here in the West. So if this looks like it might be up your alley, you might want to give it a shot, especially if you feel like you didn't get enough chills from Halloween last month. And then dropping on the 10th is the latest game from Harmonix, the creators of Rock Band and Dance Central, Fuser. Fuser is interesting in the fact that it is a game, but it's also more of a music creation tool. You're given a pool of over 100 tracks that you can rip apart and splice together to create your own custom mix. Plus, you can fully customize your DJ and the entire set that they perform on. After watching a deep dive gameplay session that IGN held with the Fuser team earlier this summer, I could see how this could be a great game to play at parties, much like Rock Band took over for a while. You can hang out with your friends and see who can mix the best track. Even though parties are essentially on hold at the moment, Fuser still features a robust online multiplayer mode, and you can even share your mixes to Facebook and Twitter so friends without the game can still hear your works. The soundtrack also features Rick Astley, and in my opinion, that deserves it some points alone. Also launching on Switch on the 10th is a game that I've been eagerly awaiting, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. It's a mashup of platforming and simulation. Half of the game consists of 2D hack and slash gameplay, very reminiscent of games like Odin Sphere or Muramasa. But then you also have a Harvest Moon style aspect to the game, with crops to tend to and villagers to befriend. And the two aspects supposedly will work together hand in hand. You can ask your villagers to craft you new weapons and meals with not only the resources that you gather on your farm, but also the supplies you gather in battle. I had a chance to demo the combat section of the game last year at E3, because obviously it didn't happen this year, and I had a blast with it. There is so much heart and energy packed into this game that I'm surprised it's honestly not a first-party Nintendo release. Sakuna can't get here any quicker. I just need to find time to play it. Then on the 12th, we're getting the newly updated Just Dance 2021. To my knowledge, not a whole lot has changed gameplay-wise over the years with the Just Dance games, but this new iteration is bringing over 40 new tracks to dance along with your friends and family. So if you've got a fever and the only cure is more dance, then you're in luck, because Just Dance has it. Now this next one may not be a Switch game, and for that reason we didn't include it in the total number of games on this list, but it is still a fairly important Nintendo release nonetheless. Launching on the 13th is a brand new throwback handheld Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. This little pocket-sized system features a full-color LCD, which is a first for the Game & Watch, a clock, and you can play the entirety of Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. It also features a bonus special version of the classic Game & Watch Ball. These handhelds were most popular in Japan back in the 80s and were conceived by the creator of the Game Boy, Gunpei Yokoi. And it's great to see Nintendo revisiting these handhelds again, and we hope that this isn't the only time we see one. And if you're hoping to get your hands on one of these, make sure to act fast, as they'll only be stocked on store shelves until roughly March 30th of next year. And if you want to learn more about the Game & Watch line of handhelds, our editor Damian McFerrin did a full video feature on the entire history of the Game & Watch, and we'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to go check that out, and we highly recommend you do. Man, I really wish Kingdom Hearts was on Switch. Say no more. Oh man, it's finally happening! Sora and Roxas, they're finally gonna be on Switch! Why? Arriving on Switch on the 13th of November is Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. Now before you go passing this off as just another Hatsune Miku rhythm game starring the Kingdom Hearts cast, give the demo on the eShop a shot. Each level takes place on a winding path, while you control a team of 3 characters, including the likes of Sora, Donald, Goofy, Riku, Roxas, Aqua, and plenty more, all while trying to fend off a horde of enemies in time with the beat of the song. It's surprisingly much more in-depth than I was personally expecting, and even features offline co-op and online versus battles too. And rumor has it there are going to be a few songs from The World Ends With You. As a child, not only was I obsessed enough with the soundtrack for Kingdom Hearts to buy the soundtrack, I also bought the soundtrack for The World Ends With You. This soundtrack straight up had me in a twister. It was calling my name. And if you've played this game, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. Another title making the leap to the Switch on the 13th is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. This enhanced port of the 360 PS3 era is getting a bit of a visual facelift, includes tons of extra content, and is set to run at 1080p 30fps in docked mode and 720p 30fps in handheld. Other than that, we don't really know a ton about this re-release. And we're just hoping it comes out a little less blurry than EA's previous attempt at a racer on Switch with Burnout Paradise Remastered. Then skipping ahead a few days down the calendar to the 17th puts you in the shoes of a sniper during World War II with Sniper Elite 4. The game features a full-fledged campaign and online multiplayer to test out your skills, and man, is this game visceral. I played a bit of the third one on PS4 a few years back, and the detail and realism the developers have put into the way you take down your enemies is next level. The gore and X-ray effects remind me in some ways of how Mortal Kombat handles its fatalities, and I guess it's X-ray moves. So if you think you can stomach all of this, then you'll be in for a real action-packed thrill ride. Now, the Switch may not be receiving a Breath of the Wild sequel this year like some of us were hoping, but that doesn't mean that Zelda fans have nothing to spend the holidays with. And unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that Nintendo and Koei Tecmo are treating us to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on the 20th, a canon prequel to Breath of the Wild. Taking place 100 years prior, you're able to play as a slew of characters from the story, including the 4 champions, Zelda herself, a young and spry Impa, and even Hestu, the Jumbo Korok. And if you've never played a Warriors game before, be warned that these are more action games than the standard Zelda affair. But you'll still be in for a great time though, as this game is being co-developed with the Breath of the Wild team. Me and most of our team are kind of trying to stay away from most of the news about this game, except for when we really have to cover something, because a lot of us just want to go into this game as blind as possible. But if you need a little help deciding if this game's going to be for you or not, you can actually head over to the eShop and download a free demo. Plus, all of your save data from the demo carries over into the main game. So even if you're already planning to buy the game, you can still give the demo a shot. And there you have it, nearly a dozen games releasing on the Nintendo Switch in the month of November that we think you should probably keep your eyes on. Feel free to let us know in the comments down below which of these games you're most excited for, and let us know if you think we missed something that we should have put on this list. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, then why don't you go ahead and travel 100 years back in time before the Calamity strikes that wonderful subscribe button, and strike it yourself. And then ring that notification bell to be the first to see our new videos whenever they go up. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.